Got some hilarious news, guys. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on CBS has been canceled. And of course, the liberals are very upset about it because he didn't do comedy. He did late night liberal editorials, but they've also come up with some conspiracy theories as to why the show was really canceled instead of the fact that it was losing $40 million a year. And of course, Donald Trump is to blame. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and check back on a regular basis. Oh, I guess the sad news is that it'll still be on the air for almost another year. So they're planning on shutting it down in May of 2026. And so here is Stephen Colbert doing a cold open for the show, breaking the news to his audience.
Before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
Which is long overdue because losing $40 million a year is kind of a big deal. In fact, The Late Late Show, which used to come on after The Late Show, with James Corden being the last host, was canceled back in 2023 because it too had been losing millions of dollars a year. But Democrats see this as a big conspiracy in order to silence criticism of Donald Trump, including Adam Schiff, who poetically was on the show the night that Colbert announced that it had been canceled, going to Twitter and posting, "Just finished taping with Stephen Colbert, who announced his show was canceled. If Paramount and CBS ended The Late Show for political reasons, the public deserves to know and deserves better." Chris Hayes, that other lesbian over on MSNBC, posted, "Not really an overstatement to say that the test of a free society is whether or not comedians can make fun of the country's leader on TV without repercussions." Senator Pocahontas issued a war cry saying, "CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS's parent company Paramount for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like bribery. America deserves to know if his show is canceled for political reasons." If you don't know, Paramount paid President Trump $16 million to settle a defamation lawsuit for a deceptively edited segment that they ran during the 2024 presidential campaign cycle. And you're never going to believe who on the left is the voice of reason regarding this cancellation. And no, it's not Bill Maher, who is a broken clock, who is right twice a day, but still has a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. It is, and I'm not kidding, you would never guess this ever, it is Keith Olbermann, who has stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome, but responded to this post claiming, "We are officially at the pulling comedians off the air who criticize our dear leader phase of fascism," saying, "Sorry, that's not what happened here. If it had, they wouldn't be keeping him on until next May." Before he was an overt Democrat operative, he was a covert Democrat operative, although it still was obvious that he was leaning far to the left. But thanks to WikiLeaks, years ago, we realized that he was taking orders from the Clintons. WikiLeaks revealed back in 2016 that when he was doing the Colbert Show on Comedy Central, they were making episodes at the request or the order of the Clinton Global Initiative, the Clinton crime family's front group. But there's a whole other layer to this conspiracy. It's not just that the Democrats think that they did it to silence criticism of President Trump, but also because there is a very big mega merger that is pending that President Trump's FCC, the Federal Communication Commission, has to approve. And so they are so paranoid. They think that the CBS did that, or Paramount, which owns CBS, did that in order to try to appease the FCC, hoping to get the merger to go through.
Let's call it what it is. Paramount is looking for FCC approval for its Skydance merger. Trump can block that if he wants to. So canceling Colbert is an obvious move to appease Donald Trump. And I need to tell y'all something. If you don't think we are under a regime with an authoritarian strategy, then you are bugging. This is textbook authoritarian rule. Target your critic, centralize power in a few hands, intimidate through punishment.
He's obviously reading these bullet points from ChatGPT response because Charlemagne, the god, has no original thoughts. And none of these people have any idea that the show has been losing $40 million a year. Colbert inherited The Late Show from David Letterman when he retired back in 2015, back when late night comedy shows actually were still funny. I mean, you just don't get scenes like this anymore.
Our old friend Chris Farley.
Well, that was then, and this is now.
Hey there. How are you doing?
This was the very next day after the 2024 election.
If you watch the show regularly,
You're a loser.
I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither. You know, today,
Okay, yeah, we know. It was great. But despite being the lamest of all of the purported comedians in mainstream media, there was one time that Stephen Colbert accidentally made us all laugh.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a. I know.
Is that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
It certainly was the one and only, because the regularly scheduled programming on his show consisted of utter nonsense like this.
That's right. But they're not
now-
going to stop. They're not going to stop.
That's Camel Face Harris promoting the Black Lives Matter insurrection of 2020.
And they're not, this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day.
Oh, they stopped, all right, because Americans got sick of the systemic anti-whiteism and came down with a severe case of black fatigue. But that didn't stop Stephen Colbert from the demographic changes, which are trending to make white people a minority in the United States in the next 10 years. Something that has already happened in numerous different states already, but you're not supposed to talk about that because white people are supposed to be seen as the big boogeyman, the bourgeoisie oppressing all BIPOCs, blacks, indigenous, and people of color through a systemic secret conspiracy.
Learn from history. The minority has never been able to control the majority. White Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
It's great. And let's not forget his vaccine flip-flopping, expressing very reasonable concerns about the power and influence of Big Pharma when Donald Trump was the president back in 2020. But then once Joe Biden took over, he was Big Pharma's biggest cheerleader. Like literally a cheerleader.
Some folks are skeptical. Thankfully, Big Pharma has come up with a way to reassure the public about their motives, and it's all in their new ad.
Are you worried about the future? Unable to sleep at night? Afraid that pharma companies will put their profits ahead of your health? If you're concerned about the cost of a vaccine, ask your doctor
Well, and the safety, of course, too, but you're not supposed to talk about that.
about Vaxilax. Vaxilax is the only medication proven to reduce anxiety about Big Pharma taking advantage of you in a national crisis. You can trust Vaxilax because of its mascot, Professor Cashington, the ethical money sack.
Side effects of Vaxilax include legless rest syndrome.
Now that is some quality satire, but a year later, once Joe Biden was in office, then, of course, his tune changed completely. Here he is celebrating the rollout of the vaccine, encouraging everybody to go and take it. Okay, I think we've seen enough for that. But as this New York Post article points out, it's not just Colbert. Late night television in general is, well, dying, if not completely dead, because this is what passes as entertainment now. This is a scene from The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon just a few days ago.
I'm in my jorts. I'm in my George shorts. I'm in my jorts. Jean shorts, that means jorts. My name's Carl, and I wear jorts. I like all sorts of racket sports. Jorts. I got my George shorts on the court.
If you're wondering if this is building up to some point, there is no point. It's just him singing a song about his jorts. This is the equivalent of Barney and Friends for liberal adults who have the mental capacities, obviously, of children.
Hey, 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 we learned something new today.
If they only would have taken Johnny Carson's advice, then they would still have an audience. And, well, I guess in the case of Stephen Colbert, still have a job.
I think one of the dangers, if you are a comedian, which basically I am, if you start to take yourself too seriously and start to comment on social issues, your sense of humor suffers somewhere. I've seen other people, whose names I won't mention, who do humor, and then somewhere along the line they start to want to make their views known. I try to do it humorously. I try not to, and we've had some criticism on the show. Some critics over the years says, well, the show has no great sociological value. It's not controversial. It's not deep. The Tonight Show basically is to amuse people, to make them laugh.
Exactly, but thankfully we now have President Trump's Truth Social posts for that, who commented, I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next. He has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. And if you want to get a good laugh and get a great t-shirt and sponsor my work, then head on over to my online store at markdice.com and get your new Alligator Alcatraz shirt, your Cat Lives Matter shirt, your Liberalism Find a Care shirt, or any of my awesome designs, all available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well, and tank tops and women's cuts now as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.